Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
I follow my husband's mentor's social media page, and his mentor put a message on the page that basically states, if you're not going to do your part to help yourself, then you should leave. And then he ended with something like, this should really thin the herd. Now, I follow my husband's mentor on social media. My husband does not. So he's laughing because, I had told him this earlier, but it's just the way his mentor is. He's very blunt, very upfront, and he'll tell you, if you don't like this, you're welcome to leave. Goodbye. So that's how he is. So how does this relate to you who are watching this? Go ahead, hon.
Well, it relates because I like um, how he put there, if you're not doing what you're supposed to, you know, and we'll expand on that because, as you know, the approach we take at One Vision is different in a lot of places.
Mhm.
And that's because here we want you to implement. We want you to prove to yourself that what you're learning works. The only way you can prove to yourself that what you're learning works is by you doing it. But you need to do it the way it was taught to you. You're not supposed to go and change it because you have a certain preference. And all of a sudden now you're not seeing the results and you're saying, oh, this doesn't work. Or you're wondering why it doesn't work when you've literally changed what you're supposed to be doing.
So, interrupting you, apologize, but why is it best? I'll say that they don't need to, but why is it best that they follow it the way you're telling them to? Where is that coming from?
Well, when you start out with anything, correct? Anything whatsoever, you have to develop a basic foundation. And you've seen me train, you've known me for years, as I would say. You think you've known me since you were born. Yeah, you think that there was no other life without me in there as far as you're concerned. It's like I existed the moment you open your eyes or something. Right?
Well, you did. I just didn't know it.
Well, that's a good point. Well, the way you behave, it's like we've been together since you were born. How about that?
That's better.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll go like, how comes I don't know about that? Well, hon, you didn't know me when I was like 5 years old. So anyway, here's the point. But you see me train, you see me teach,
Mhm.
right? You've sat in my classrooms many, many years ago. You've seen me teach. How did my students do? I guess I could ask you that. I'm going to brag a little bit here. Oh, I hope I'm going to brag a little bit. I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, from what I have seen, as long as they followed the methods that you taught them, especially when it came to math and science, they excelled.
And what do you mean by excelled?
Like they would always get A's in class, and then they went on to mathematics and science academies, not just like regular high schools.
And the best part was that when they took these tests, and it was a Terra Nova test, it's a private school, they did a Terra Nova test, and these were 7th and 8th graders. Their scores were always post high school. I don't know if you know that,
Yes.
right? But it was always post high school as 7th and 8th graders. So, but they had to learn the basics. So everything that they learned was they had to do it a specific way. This is the way it has to be done. Once they got good at that, then they could experiment and do what they feel was more comfortable to them because now they understand why they're doing what they're doing or why they did what they did. Correct? Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
You've seen me coach the soccer kids. Same thing. In the beginning, it's very strict, isn't it? It's like, no, 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 no,
Yes.
no. I don't want you experimenting with this. Do it this way. This is the only way it should be done. No, don't do that. And they'll be like, why not? I just want you to do it this way. But as they get good at that base, building that foundation, all of a sudden, I say, okay, go ahead and do your own thing now. Try something else. And then they get even better, right? And they
Hmm.
wind up being recruited for colleges and they're doing well out there in life. Well, it's the same thing here. You know, we know that when I was taught these techniques, they were taught to me a specific way, and I had to do them that way and that way only. Once I saw the results, then I was encouraged to go ahead and tweak them if I wanted to. But I knew that if I tweaked them and I didn't get the results I expected, I could go back to the one that worked. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But if you go and you start to change something from the beginning and that doesn't work, then you don't even have anything that works. And that's why we say focus on doing exactly what you've been guided to, what you've been taught to do. That's it. Don't go making any changes of any kind. But people are so caught up in, oh, it has to be this way, or because they've done things in the past, they think they could just bring that and add it to what they've been taught. And then they
Hmm.
don't get the results. And they
Right.
think it's because what they've been taught doesn't work. Even though other people are getting results, they still think that what they've been taught doesn't work.
Right.
So, what my mentor is saying is, hey, you need to do your part. But doing your part doesn't mean doing it your way. It means doing it the way that it was taught to you. That's doing your part. Because so many people tell us, well, I'm not getting a good result. And then when we ask, what are you doing? And they tell us, well, I did this. I said, well, why are you doing it that way? Well, I feel better doing it this way. Well, good for you that you feel better doing it that way. But what kind of result are you getting? Or not feel good, they feel comfortable doing it that way.
Right. Or it's a technique they learned, a different technique that they think is similar that they learned from elsewhere that they're trying to make fit with what they're learning from 190 Vision.
Hmm. And then the result is not there. And then we say, listen, just as we always say, empty your cup, right?
Hmm.
And many people think that that means just forget about what you learned. No, we're not saying that. What we say is put it on hold. Just put it away for now. Just don't try to use that right here because obviously it's not working at the moment. You haven't mastered the basics yet. First, focus on getting the basics. Once you get the basics, then, and you're good at it, now you can go ahead and see if you can tweak it. Because if the tweak doesn't work, you can go back to the basics without the tweak, and the result is still there,
Right.
you know? But it must be that with my mentor, the same thing must be happening. So it's not just us, right?
Right.
And he goes, like, listen, you've spent money on this. Why are you wasting your time? You know, don't
Hmm.
waste my time. Don't waste your time. And they'll be talking about it doesn't work because there are enough people that are experiencing wonderful, wonderful results here. So you're doing something wrong. So if you don't want to do it the way we tell you to do it, then just leave. Just we'll say bye. Go do it your way somewhere else. And I like that. And so I'm sending the same message to the folks here at 190 Vision because we've had so many individuals that they just every time they learn something new, before you know it, they're adding to it or
We're
they're
trying
doing
to
it their
change it.
way. Right. And why they're doing that, I don't know. Do you have any idea why they do that?
I think it goes back to comfort level, that this is different than what they maybe expect, than what they've already experienced. And so they would rather do what's comfortable for them instead of realizing that our team pushes us to grow by making us uncomfortable.
So, and what's interesting is by them doing that, it just delays the progress that they could be having.
Yes.
Now, uh, so what we want is we want everybody to just apply the tool the way it's been taught to each and everyone. That way, you see the results faster, right?
Hmm.
So that's one thing. Just apply the tools that you learned the way they were taught to you. Stop this thing about, well, I feel more comfortable doing it this way. or this is how I learned it. This I learned part of this from this, and I think it applies. Just apply it the way you was taught to you, because
Mm.
as long as you do that, you'll see the result. The second thing is this: in our community, we want to help everybody because we believe that everyone has the ability to do what we do here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be teaching it to everybody, right?
Right.
While someone is being trained, they're assigned to a facilitator. So there's always someone there to guide them, to mentor them. And this facilitator does this on his or her own free time. These individuals have a family, right?
Yes, many of them do. Hmm.
And of course, they have a job, they might have a business to run. The bottom line is they have a responsibility.
They have lots of responsibilities. Yes.
Yet still, these facilitators, which include you as well, they take what they do seriously and they really want to help the individuals that are assigned to them. But I've seen so many cases where the facilitators put all this time and effort into helping someone, and the person doesn't provide an update. Or when they provide the update is when they feel like it. Or um, the facilitator arranges a phone call, a one-on-one mentorship. I mean, think about that, and it's free of charge.
Hmm.
They spend all this time talking to this individual. They even record the call, and we record the call so that the person can go back and listen to the recording many times over. So if they have any questions, they can just listen to the recording. They don't have to call their facilitator again or try to talk to you or myself because the answers are more than likely on that recording.
Hmm.
Yet still, they contact the facilitator about that same thing again. After a while, it's time to for this person to know, you know what, you need to really go back to the recording. And if they don't want to do that, then maybe it's time for them to leave. They don't need to be in the community because they're not applying themselves. They're not doing the things they're supposed to do, as my mentor said in his message. What do you think
Hmm.
about that?
Oh no, I agree with that because there are only so many times where, from myself, for example, that I can repeat the same thing over and over. And if it's already in a recording, that's what I do now. Just go back and listen to the recording. This is the same thing you brought it before. And even though they say, oh no, it's so different this time, no, actually, it's not. Please just go back and listen to the recording. And sometimes they get it, maybe the third or fourth time they listen to the recording and like, aha, like the light bulb went off. So yes, it's very helpful.
Right? And so someone shouldn't take it in a negative way when a facilitator or one of us suggests, go back to the recording. Please go back and listen to the recording. Because the answer is there, and it's better to just hear it for yourself when it was said the first time, right?
Hmm.
And also for the individual to realize that we don't change our answer. We're not trying to change the answer for anything or trick somebody. What we told you the first time, that's exactly what it is.
Hmm.
So that's extremely important, right?
Yes.
But there are also individuals that literally demand calls. Like, well, I want to talk to you with the facilitator, for example, or even with myself. They'll say, I'd like to talk to you, and they give a date and time, or say, let's just have a phone call. It doesn't work that way. Keep in mind again that everyone has a schedule, and you're being taught how to use tools to help yourself.
Hmm.
And if you just use those tools, you'll see that many times when you think you don't have an answer, you already have the answer if you are applying your tools properly.
Correct.
You know, I've
Hmm.
seen so many individuals that will send me a message, and by the time I get back to them, they'll say, oh, never mind, I got the answer.
Mhm.
So that tells me they're applying their tools, and even after they sent me a message, they were still trying. And that's what we want. You get trained so that you can get the solution yourself.
Right.
Of course, we double check the solution to make sure that it's not them using their bias to get that solution, but at
Mhm.
least they're trying to solve it, you know? And
Right.
then one of the final, I'll say for me is the final thing, but there might be more you think about. Um, as someone progresses in the training, so you start a paradigm shift, and most of the work is facilitated on your behalf. You
Mhm.
go to balancing, right? Now you learn to do some type of balancing work. Well, now you go to advanced balancing. But by the time you get to advanced balancing, if you contact your facilitator and you're saying, "Oh, I feel this certain way, could you help me with this?" Your facilitator will more than likely do this if they're helping you properly. They'll go like this. What have you tried?
Mhm.
Right? They're not just going to go and help you like they did when you were in paradigm shift anymore, because now you have tools. So now they're going to remind you, hey, wait a minute, you have tools. Which one of your tools have you tried, or how many tools have you tried, and what did you do? And this is how we get you to start thinking about how you can help yourself.
Mhm.
You're no longer helpless. You have tools now. Paradigm shift, you didn't have tools. You were just getting started. So, yeah, the moment you come to your facilitator, they get to work on your behalf because they know you don't have the tools. But
Right.
as you're developing, they expect you to step up. You have to do your part. They're not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do it for you. I want to see you step up and do your part too. And that's how we know if you're progressing. And
Mhm.
that's how we know if what you're doing is correct, so that corrections can be made or modifications can be made to what you're doing. So you start getting the results you should. So going back to my mentor's message, do what you know you're supposed to do. And that means implement, but do it correctly. Not the way you want to do it, but the way you were taught to do it. Any thoughts from you,
Oh, yes.
my lovely, lovely wife?
My other thoughts are do it consistently because what you're being taught here that was handed down to us that my husband was trained with, it's a lifestyle. It's not just, oh, I'll use it just at this moment. No, it's something you can use all the time. These tools are at your disposal for whenever something comes up, and you'll know. Like when a carpenter is building a house, he knows which tool to use at which time, and that's what individuals are trained to do here at 190 Vision. They're trained to, first of all, know how to use the tool, know when to use the tool, and then it's up to you incorporating it as a lifestyle. Oh, this has come up. Which tool is the one? Oh, this one right here. And then you use it. And if it's not working for you, then you say, is this what I'm supposed to use? Maybe I'm using the wrong tool. And your facilitator will help you troubleshoot. That's how the progression should go. So definitely take the time, learn how to use the tool, learn when to use the tool, and then make sure when something comes up in your day, you're changing that lifestyle. And instead of just that, oh, I need someone to do this for me, it's wait, let me check my toolbox first. And then you implement what it is you know you should do.
And we always say, and that's a good point on about um, checking to see which tool you should use, right?
Mhm.
But they should also reach out to the facilitator and say, okay, I'm experiencing this. I'm going to try this. I'll give you an update.
Yep.
That way the facilitator knows, and the facilitator starts to track what's going on as well. That's the way
Mhm.
it's supposed to work. They have to do their part. The
And that's
most important. Go ahead.
I was about to say, and that's part of how all the facilitators became facilitators because that's what we did. Okay, this is what I'm experiencing. This is the tool that I'm going to use. I'll keep you updated. And then sometimes we get feedback. Oh, you know what? This other tool would be better. Use that one. Or oh, great job. And we'd send the update. This is what took place, and all would be well. So that constant communication is also very helpful for you, the individual who's learning to use these tools. So that way, you can help develop that instinct to know what to do when.
And the key thing is, as I was saying earlier, or started to say earlier, is that the individual has to be open to what is being taught to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the individual decides, well, I'm going to do it my way, then of course the results will continue to be the same results the individual's been experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be done the way it's been taught initially. And if your facilitator expresses something to you, then whether or not you agree with your facilitator is not even the point. They're a facilitator for a reason. They've been through it, they have the experience. Just follow what they suggest you do and then see the result that you get. And that's how you know whether or not what your facilitator is saying works or what you get from one intervention works. But again, going back to how we started this whole conversation, it's not about what makes you comfortable. It's about what gives you the strong basic foundation. And to get a strong basic foundation here at 190 Vision, you need to implement what you've been taught exactly the way it's been taught to you. Don't be adding your own stuff to it, or don't be telling us things like, well, I feel more comfortable doing it this way, or I was taught to do this like this, so that's how I'm doing. That's why I added to this. If the result is not there, if you're not getting the result you're supposed to, then it's telling you that the approach you're taking doesn't work. If you're not experiencing improvements, it's telling you that the approach you're taking doesn't work. So you have one of two things. You could be stubborn enough to continue doing what you're doing. And in that case, you might as well just leave the community because you're not going to experience improvement. And as long as we continue to train you, you're not listening to what or implementing what you've been taught because you want to do it your way, there'll be no progress. You're just wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
So as my mentor says, might as well just leave. Go find a different place where it will work for you. The other option is that you'll say, you know what I've been trying does not work. It's not very effective. Let me just learn the basics. Let me not change anything. Let me just do it exactly the way I've been taught this, and let me do it consistently. And then let's see what happens. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Surprise, you actually might get the results that everybody else is getting. So it's all up to you. It's all up to you.
Okay.
We're done?
I think that covers it.
Okay. So, well, go ahead.
As your mentor says, this might thin the herd a bit, but
I was about to say, will either get some really dedicated individuals now that really want to prove that what they've learned works by making sure they just follow step by step what they've been taught, or they'll decide, forget it. I don't like the way it's taught to me. I don't think it works. I'm leaving. In either case, it works, right?
Right,
So,
and they're doing what they feel is best for them.
That's correct. That's correct. All right, so thanks for sharing that post with me. I still think it's a fantastic post because we just want to help everybody. And if it's not working for someone, and they don't want to make that change to see if it will work for them, then they're in the wrong place. They might as well just go where they feel it works better for them.
Join others that are on the path of manifesting their best life through the 190 Vision Facebook group. Learn more about other topics by listening to podcasts on the 190 Vision Spotify channel or by watching videos on the 190 Vision YouTube channel. Request help by visiting the 190vision.com website. Click on the Help Me tab and submit the consent form. Help support the 190 Vision community by clicking on the Donate button that is located at the bottom of every page on our website.